Kia ora, Internet. This is not the trip I teased in my last video. That's not happening till later in the year. This is a trip that I took to Tāmaki Makaurau, Auckland, about 18 months ago, and just never got round to editing the videos for it. Life got busy. The reason I was going up to Auckland was for the Australasian Book Crossing Convention, which was being held on Waiheke Island. But I decided to fly up a few days early so I could spend some time in the city. Despite what many people think, Auckland isn't our capital, that's Wellington. But Auckland is our biggest city. About a quarter of the population of New Zealand live there. And it's in the far north of the country, so the climate is very different from down here in Christchurch. It's almost in the tropics. Which all adds up to Auckland having a totally different feel to the rest of New Zealand. It almost feels like visiting another country. When you arrive in Auckland, you feel just how big a city it is. You have to take a bus and then a train to get into the central city from the airport. This has got to be the smallest hotel room I've ever stayed in. I had to stand in the doorway to about even film this much. But it's in a great location. It's just off Queen Street and it was cheap, and it has the tiniest little balcony. I'm on the 10th floor. I have a really good view of the Sky Tower. My first afternoon I spent just wandering around the waterfront. Auckland's waterfront is definitely one of its highlights. It's beautiful and full of interesting things to see, like this pedestrian bridge that raises up like a drawbridge to let yachts come through. Then in the evening I caught up with my nephew and his girlfriend, who took me out to this very fancy bar for cocktails. It was a lot of fun. I can put you guys in it as well. The next day I spent with my friends Jack and Andrew. You've already seen one of our adventures, the trip to Butterfly Creek. We also had Korean barbecue for lunch, got very fancy ice creams, and went craft shopping at the Ribbon Rose.
Should we run? No, probably we shouldn't.
This is a really awkward angle because angles are awkward on camera. We went shopping at the craft shop. We bought lots and lots and lots of things. We were there for 2 hours or something. It was a really good craft shop. I bought, because there was like a $10 a metre fabric sale, so I bought fabric and
Excuse me.
cat. I didn't buy the cat. But it's like, I think 4 metres of fabric or something.
Oh my goodness.
4.5 metres of fabric. $10 a metre. It's really good. And fabric and fabric.
Oh, that's a good one.
Fabric and fabric.
I love that.
And then there was like some fat quarters and fat eighths. So
I don't get out of there.
I can be in there. And some fat eighths just because they were cool and rainbow fabric, which I had to get.
So cute.
So Jack made me get this, so I have promised to make something out of hippos. I don't know what. And then I bought some actual, like, expensive fabric. But
Such a good one.
yeah, I like that one and that one and those two, because I've only ever seen the ones with the yellow background in Christchurch. I bought some rotary blades and some needles,
That's boring.
a glue pen, which is boring. So I've got a punchy paper punch thing and some inky things. So that was what I got. What did you get?
I got a bunch of yarn because I just started crocheting, and because I just started, obviously I want to do a temperature project for 2024. So I had to get 6 colors for the temperature haul. And if you are paying attention and a data nerd, you might recognize this as the Viridis color palette, which is the best color palette. Oh, it's got an eggplant at the end. Yeah. And then a tummy color, because I'm making a sea serpent, and then some colors for the clouds. I think I forgot a color, but that's okay. And then I got this weird one for another project because it's funny and strange. And I got more yarn, some yellow for some Baba Yaga legs. And then I got some fabric, but you've seen this before because we split it up. So Future Cat and I went halfsies essentially on those, and then I got this one, these ones.
Yeah, that one's really cool. Dinosaurs.
Yeah. And then I just got some boring stuff, some tapestry, needle, and a big hook, and a stitch counter. The end.
Yeah, we did a
lot
lot
of
of shopping. That's more shopping than I normally ever do in a year, but you know.
It's a lot, but
Yeah.
I'm happy with it.
Yay! And of course, we spent some time hanging out with their cat Io.
Yeah, Io, can you spin? Spin. Good job. It looks like she didn't mean to do it, but
Yeah.
she did. You know that one. Yeah, you know that one. Can you spin again? Spin. Good job. Which hand? Which hand? Oh, try again. Not that hand. I'm going your two. Good job. Good job. That's it. That's all her tricks.
Well done, Io.
Good job.
On my final morning in the city, I had a few hours to kill before heading to Waiheke. So I decided to catch one of the many ferries that are part of the public transport system in Auckland. Auckland City stretches around 2 large and complex harbours, Waitemata and Manukau. So if you don't want to drive vast distances to get anywhere, the ferries are a much better way to travel. I'm in Hobsonville. It's just like a random part of Auckland. I don't know anything about it all. I picked it purely because I wanted to take a ferry ride somewhere, and I thought it'd be really cool to take a ferry under the harbour bridge, so I went to the ferry terminal and took the next ferry that was heading in that direction, and this is where it brought me. I don't know what there is to do in Hobsonville. I'm going to have a look at Google Maps shortly and see what there is around here. I might just go for a wander around. I found this little walkway that goes along the waterfront, which is really cool because it's full of mangroves. I remember when I was a kid, the first time I came to Auckland, I was fascinated by the idea that they had mangroves growing here, because I had seen them in a David Attenborough program, probably Life on Earth or something like that, and it was like mangroves seemed something so exotic, and that we had them in New Zealand was really exciting. So I've still got a bit of affection for mangroves, which I don't think many Aucklanders would share with me because they're pretty smelly, horrible things, but mangroves. I don't know if you can see them, but they're little tiny crabs. They're amongst the mangroves. They look like they're maybe a centimetre across. They're really tiny. These are Pahutakawa trees, but it's a bit early yet for them to be in bloom. They usually bloom in December. They'll be really amazing, massive red then. I saw something on Google Maps called Te Kanohi or Te Manu, which means the eye of the bird, and it listed it as a sculpture, but when I got up here, it turns out it's actually a slide, which is so cool. There's another ladder up inside it. You can go up into its head. Yeah, I'm not going down there, it looks really steep. I'd probably break something. I think I found my way past the detour and onto what is technically the coastal path again, even though it's actually up the hill from the coast a bit. It's going through this nice park area. So it's so nice and peaceful. Considering we're still technically within the largest city in New Zealand, but there's still these nice little bits of bush and in between the billion-dollar apartments. A huge building construction centre that's in progress. Midst of all this, but there's actually a town over there, or a suburb, I guess. And that's in the foreground is the construction that has blocked the pathway. Here's another thing Google Maps led me to. A collection of ferry houses. Apparently they were created during the COVID lockdown to give local children something a little bit magical in their very constrained lives. Wonderfully elaborate. even a hanging one. I got back to the wharf just in time to catch the ferry back into the city and then to catch another ferry out to Waiheke, but that's going to be for another video. I hope you've enjoyed this kind of delayed vlog. Don't forget to do all those nice internety things like liking and subscribing and leave a comment, and I will see you next time. Ka kite anō, Internet.